Today we're going to work on this design. The request is for it to be 24 inches on a plasma cutter, maybe 2 layers with the wheel behind and the middle section in a circle cutout, and maybe draw the rope separate. However, I see it coming out okay as a single layer design, so I'm going to draw all the parts separately and save a copy so that it could be layered, but then I'm going to make my design a single layer because I think that'll work out. Basically, the handles and letters and rope segments will be holes cut into a outer solid circle that outlines these handles, with sections of this rope outlined with a single cut to give it some definition. And inside the rope, the water will be solid, so these waves will be holes, and above the water will be a cutout, so the ship and sky will come out a lot like it's drawn here, except I will probably make fewer, fatter horizontal lines for the sky. So first I would draw a circle and center it on the design. And then a center line for reference. And first I will draw one of these handles. With the rectangle tool, and the freehand tool. Get the node tool, select all nodes, turn them into curves, and drag these approximately into position. Mirror that horizontally, weld, and get the node tool, and fix that up a little bit, and center it on my center line. Well, now I have to mirror this and weld it. And center that too. And it looks a little too wide. There. Now let me just combine those two like that. Now I need to do the rope. That's a little trickier. I'm going to make a couple copies of this circle for reference. And I'm going to figure on having about 10 rope segments per quadrant, which means it'll be about 9 degrees between each segment. So I'm going to take this line and rotate it about the center, 4.5 degrees that way, and 4.5 degrees the other way. And now I just need to draw a rope segment in there with the freehand tool. And then I'm going to rotate a copy of that nine degrees that way and 9 degrees that way to better see how they're going to fit together so I can adjust them a little more rope-like. Then I'll delete these two and rotate two new ones. And adjust it a little more. And that should look pretty good. Later on, I'm definitely going to fillet these sharp corners a little bit. But for now, I'm going to leave the sharp corners there. Delete these two. And rotate 39 copies, 9 degrees apart. And delete these two circles. And these lines. And now I'm going to select all those rope segments and combine and contour to the outside 0.125 inches. Break apart. And now I have an outline and the inner segments. But the outlines seem to run a little too close together compared to that thickness. So what I'm going to do is offset these to the inside .0075 inches, break apart, and delete the outer one so that the widths are a little more balanced. And that's good enough on the rope for now. So now I'm going to drag a copy of this circle just inside there and draw the water. Get my node tool, turn those into curves, drag them into position, make that smooth, and intersect it with this circle and mirror that horizontally, weld them together. Then I'll go ahead and draw this wave and this one. Make those curves and drag them into position. Same here. And I'm going to mirror a copy of this and that horizontally and delete the extra copy of that line. And now I'm going to draw in half of this ship with the freehand tool. Like so. And I'm going to select both of those and offset to the, I gotta combine them, and offset to the outside 0.075 with rounded corners. Break that apart, delete that, and now I'm going to draw a rectangle to trim that along the center line and mirror it horizontally and weld it together. And then draw this center line, contour that to the outside 0.75, break apart, and delete the middle. And I'll go ahead and weld that to the ship. And now I'm going to draw these lines. I'll just duplicate that one 0.4 inches up repeatedly. And I'm going to grab all those and scale them like that. And then I'll grab them all and combine them. And now I'm going to drag a copy of this circle and intersect with these lines. And now I'm going to break this apart so I can use this outer line to trim those. But I don't want to trim them right on the intersection, so I'm going to contour this to the inside, and then I'm going to break that apart and use the inside to trim these lines. And then I'm going to offset them to the outside 0.04, break apart, delete the middle, and now I'm going to recombine all of these ship parts together so I can break these apart and fudge these up a little bit to get a little better gap right there. And now I'm going to have a border, or I'm going to make a copy of this circle and make a border around this thing. So now I can make my outline around these handles. I want to select this and offset to the outside about 0.25 inches. Break apart, get the node tool, and clean that up a little bit. And then I'm going to make a rectangle to trim that at the center line so I can mirror a copy horizontally and weld it and select all of that. Click for rotation and move the center to the center of the object and rotate 7 copies 45 degrees. And I'm going to scale this circle in. And now I just need the text. But I'm not going to record myself searching for and trying to fit the right font. So I'm just going to do that real quick without recording. Now, I ended up using the GeoSlab font and drew these 2 dots. But some of these letters are just too close together. And reduce the inter-character spacing from 25% to maybe 20% or 15%. And then use the node tool to work from center around this way, around, and then around this way to select all of these letter handles and drag a little more space between some of those letters. You see how I'm grabbing all these letter handles and just dragging letters a little further apart there. So the object is not to match these letters exactly, but to get these letters to fit from there to there with enough space in between them. And I guess that looks pretty good. So now I don't need this circle anymore. And that pretty much does it for layout, so I can delete the layer with the bitmap on it. And now I just save one copy of this named Paul Hall 1 with all of the parts separate. And I've saved a copy called Paul Hall 2 that I'm going to combine all into one single layer. To make it into layers, you'd have to use Paul Hall 1 and decide how you want to layer those things. And now my 3-point rectangle tool will snap to that edge. And I can draw 3-point rectangles to trim away from that text to bridge those gaps. And that should do it. So now I resaved that previous copy I had made with the text trim. And now I can complete this one as a one layer design. So I'm going to select all of these. And weld this. And then I'm going to take this rope outline and break apart. I'm going to use my node tool to break this one into 4 pieces. Then break apart and delete those extra pieces. Drag the center to the center and rotate 3 copies 90 degrees. And now I want to combine this inner rope with this outer ring to make a hole. But I want to keep a piece of it in this area because this is going to be solid. So I'm going to make a copy and then drag a rectangle and trim that copy. And then use my node tool to break open these corners. Break apart and delete that line. Now I have a little copy of that rope outline in there. So now I can combine that with that and weld it to that to form a hole here. And now I just need to weld the ship to that. And these lines are all separate, so I have to select them all and weld them to this. And delete that and that. And that. And there it is. Except this I is still too close to this A, so I'm going to have to break that apart, get those letters, rotate about the center, like so. And one other thing I wanted to do was fillet these corners here, about 0.03 inches. And there you have it. Except I should probably also put little small fillets everywhere. including the letters. Which are all broken apart. So I have to try to select them, but not this, or this, or this, or this, or that, or that, that, and this. Fillet 015. And that should do it. So that's all for now. I'll see you next time.